How do you know if you're battling seasonal affective disorder? My name is Virgia and I'm a mental health consultant. I help managers to keep top performers happy at work. So the first thing is, what is SAD? There's a lot of misconceptions around SAD. Well, I've heard, it's the winter blues, or I'm just not feeling like myself. But let's take a dive and see what it is. Seasonal affective disorder is a type of major depression that occurs during particular times of the year. While SAD is considered a subtype of depression, studies indicate that in 33 to 44% of cases, SAD turns into non-seasonal major depression. SAD is sometimes referred to as the winter blues because it often starts in autumn and then ends in the winter. But did you know there's something called summer depression? A lot of people don't actually know that this exists, where it starts in the spring and it ends in autumn. Here are some symptoms or behaviors that you might notice, whether within your work environment or maybe within the people around you. Low mood, marked loss of interest, and pleasure in everyday activities. So the things that you used to love, you start not liking it so much. There's a decrease in motivation, there's agitation, or you are just moving really slowly. I remember when I had a lot of things going on and I wasn't doing too well, I actually remember my colleague mentioning to me, "You're moving rather slow." So it's like you're moving in slow-mo. There's a decrease in energy and fatigue. There's a feeling of worthlessness or guilt. There's a decrease in libido. There's impaired concentration or indecisiveness, or typically irritability. But what about the subtle signs of SAD? What about your sleeping patterns? People that are struggling with depression symptoms or behaviors, they tend to want to sleep a lot more during the daytime hours, and even reaching for carbohydrates or foods that are really fatty just to appease their emotions. So it's so important not just to look at those major symptoms, but those symptoms behind the door as well. But what's important to remember is that sadness is normal. Okay, it's typical to have these highs and lows. When you're sad, it actually might be because you're lonely. It might be you're grieving, or there's some sort of loss, or maybe you're feeling helpless or hopeless. And it helps us to take a breath and to reflect and to do different. But when these symptoms, they're lingering for a long time and it's affecting your ability to do your day-to-day activities, this is when we definitely need to seek that support, especially as a manager. When you're noticing these signs, whether there's a low productivity, whether there's a lack of concentration, there's withdrawal, all these things are important things to recognize. So I have 4 tips to help you to overcome seasonal affective disorder. The first is be aware. Be aware of what the symptoms are, because if you don't acknowledge that this is happening, a lot of times you'll push through and then you'll notice that, I'm not feeling the best. And a critical part of being diagnosed with SAD is the cycles. So if you notice that this winter you were feeling really down and you were more like yourself in the summer, what happened the following year? Was it the same cycle? And then what happened the other year? So if it is a cycle, that's when we can say, hey, this might be SAD. The second tip is allow yourself to be sad. SAD is a natural emotion. So if you need to have a good cry, if you need to reflect, if you need to take a beat, allow yourself to. A lot of the times we often stuff our emotions down and we keep on going. And guess what happens? It lingers a lot longer. So it's okay to be sad. A third tip is allow yourself to have compassion. There's a lot of times that we might be really hard on ourselves or really critical. Do you actually allow forgiveness? Do you take the time to validate your own feelings? To say, hey, I've had a tough couple of months. Allow yourself to have that break. Sometimes if we take that pressure off, it can relieve symptoms. Here's tip number 4. Know your options. I know we're talking about, certain behaviors that we need to look for, but if you know your options when it comes to therapy, when it comes to medication, this can really make the difference. For example, do you know how cognitive behavioral therapy works? How your thoughts and your emotions and your actions, how they all link together? It's okay to try out a therapist. It's okay to kind of have an interview process because it's really about you and what's the best fit for you. When it comes to medication, have you thought of specific serotonin reuptake inhibitors? So important to know this because these are the different medications that might be prescribed to you. Be sure to talk with your doctor in regards to the symptoms that you are experiencing and log your symptoms, because there's a lot of times doctors don't have all that time to sit down with you. So if you come ready and prepared to engage, it really makes a difference. What about lifestyle changes? I know we talk about therapy, we talk about medication, but what is it in your life that you're doing day to day that's either encouraging you to feel not the best or encouraging you to be your best self? As a therapist, if a client reports that they're having symptoms of depression or symptoms of anxiety, the first go-to for me is activity. What are they doing? So logging what you love to do. Are you actually doing the things that you enjoy? Are you pursuing passions? When it comes to your sleep, are you tracking your sleep? All of these things are super important. Another popular therapy for seasonal affective disorder is light therapy, where you allow yourself to be exposed to certain lighting for about 20 minutes a day. This is helpful because it could definitely get those triggers going when it comes to your mood. Another tip in terms of your actions is the ability to be grateful and your connection. Whenever you are grateful, it allows you to have a brace. It allows you to feel positive emotions when it comes to your circumstance. And if you are feeling lonely, this is a sign that there's connection needed. Sometimes we need extra supports, and that's okay. If you like what you've heard, be sure to hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. So important that this time we're checking on each other and we're being accountable because we never know how the other person might be feeling.